All right, hey everybody. Welcome to the Wellness Wednesday for January 7th. It's a couple minutes before the top of the hour, so I'm gonna get a couple of windows open first, and then we'll get rolling right when the top of the hour hits. So let me do this. I've got the webinar chat open, so post your questions here. All right, like we do on these Wellness Wednesdays, it's webinar style. So if you have questions as I'm going through the slides, feel free to put them into the chat. I'll keep the chat. You can see I'm pointing up this way. I'll keep the chat open on one of my monitors so I can sort of see it out of the corner of my eye. And if questions go in there that I think are good to answer, when they go in, I'll stop and answer them. And if there are things that I will answer later when I get to the right slide, I'll save it for then. So we're gonna have a good conversation, I think, tonight. So let me go here and I want to share my PowerPoint and bingo. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully that's going to work right there. All right, so we're just going to wait another minute or so, probably half a minute until the top of the hour, and then I'll start officially. Um, we're going to talk about the Certified Mental Wellness Coach course. And a whole bunch of other things, as we go through tonight. So it's beginning of the year, 2026 is upon us. A lot of people are going to be looking for new stuff. So, title of the presentation tonight is right there: New Year, New Career: How and Why to Build a Business as a Certified Mental Wellness Coach. This is our Wellness Wednesday. So I do 3 calls every single week. Wellness Wednesdays are webinar style. So you can't unmute yourself and ask questions, but you can certainly put your questions into the chat room, and I'll answer those as I'm going through. We try to get all the questions answered every single night. We usually go, 45 minutes to an hour on some sort of a topic. The other 2 calls that I do one on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. This Wellness Wednesday is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I do another call on Friday at noon Eastern time. And the Tuesday call and the Friday call are what we call coaching calls. They are people who have been through or are going through this certified mental wellness coach course, and those are they're meetings. So they're usually an hour long. For the first half of that hour, I'll usually share a scientific paper that's just come out. On this past Friday. I'm sorry, on this past Tuesday, we talked about a new study that came out looking at sleep and sleep quality and sleep architecture. Sometimes we'll look at something that's come out about the gut-brain axis or the microbiome or leaky gut or something like that. So I'll share some new research or something interesting that I think is hitting the airwaves. And then for the second half of the call, we'll do Q&A, we'll do, client troubleshooting, we'll do all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a really fun kind of thing, but those Tuesday call and Friday call are just for certified mental wellness coaches. But these Wellness Wednesdays, who am I talking to? Right? I'm talking to everybody. So anybody can jump on these Wellness Wednesdays. And a lot of times, like I will always show this at the beginning of a Wellness Wednesday call, just so people know who I am. My background, PhD in nutritional biochemistry, the kind of work that I do is sometimes these days called nutritional psychology because we're looking at the food mood connection. And even more than that, we're looking for the anything mood connection because we'll talk about physical activity, we'll talk about mindset, we'll talk about the immune system, we'll talk about leaky gut, we'll talk about all kinds of different things as it relates to psychological outcome. And that psychological outcome, when we talk about mental wellness or mental fitness, it's everything from your mood to your energy levels and your mental focus and your brain fog and your resilience, which is your ability to handle stress, and your sleep quality and your motivation, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot that goes under that umbrella. So you can see all my sort of background there. If this is something that you like, right? If you're somebody who wants to dive into the details, I've got three websites for you. I'll share these with you as I go through as well. DocTalbot.com is my education website. We post all kinds of cool things there. There's a blog there. There's free ebooks that you can download. There are link outs to YouTube channels and things like that. All about education. This is also where we house the certified mental wellness coach that I'm going to talk about tonight. Three Waves B&B is our mental wellness retreat that we run B&B style. I'll talk about that in just a second. And then threewaveswellness.com is our products. And we have an affiliate program so people can share the products. They're all like top shelf, ultra premium, research based products that you can either consume as yourself as a consumer, or a lot of our coaches will use those products with their clients. And we have a very lucrative affiliate program, so you can earn. That can be a revenue stream for you. So I'll briefly talk about that as we go through. Okay. So the last few calls that we've done on these Wellness Wednesdays, we've covered a lot of ground. So a lot of what we do, it's all sort of mental wellness, but sometimes it's gut brain optimization. Sometimes it's about where the future of the whole mental wellness industry is going. We have a lot of master classes. I've done a master class on supplement sourcing, like where do these ingredients come from anyway, and how can you identify good quality ones versus low quality ones. We've done a lot of master classes on neurotransmitters. So we've got them on cortisol, on dopamine, on serotonin. We just wrapped up one on melatonin and GABA. So that one relates to sleep. We've talked about collagen. I did one recently on peptides. What's all the hype about? So that one was very well attended, and there were lots and lots of questions for that. And then the last one that we did right before the holidays was on gut brain resilience for everyday excellence, which is sort of my way of talking about resilience and peak performance and things like that. And so all of those Wellness Wednesdays get recorded and get posted up here in this Ask Dr. Sean community. This is our online community for mental wellness coaches. It has a discussion area. It has an archives area that has all the recorded calls. It's got a bunch of special reports. It's got mini courses. Just got a ton of information. I'll show you a screenshot of that a little bit later on. So they all go in there. Some of them also, if they're sort of a general interest kind of a thing, will go on my YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Dr. Sean Talbot. That's where this gut brain resilience one just went, because it's sort of a mainstream idea, right? Everybody wants to be able to handle stress better, and God knows we all have plenty of stress these days. And so having better resilience, meaning the ability to sort of navigate through your stressful situations and solve problems and come up with creative solutions and things like that. That's what resilience is all about. There's a lot of really good tips there. We also have a mental fitness quiz that you can take for free at doctalbot.com/quiz. And then you can actually sign up for an email that will go out every week that will tell you what Wellness Wednesday is going to be all about. So coming up, we have master classes on the immune system, master classes on life stages. So we're going to be talking about pregnancy, perimenopause, menopause, andropause, which is the male version of menopause. So those are all upcoming on Wellness Wednesday. So if you want to be sort of looped in on those so you don't miss them, you can hit that website there. So I'm going to move this little video guy over here so you can see our nice little certification badge. Here's an overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about what is mental wellness coaching all about. What's the difference between a mental wellness coach and a mental health counselor? There's actually a big difference. Mental wellness coaching, just to sort of put it out there right now, and don't bury the lead, as they say, it's all about education, guidance, training, and support of your clients to help them unlock their potential. A lot of your clients, if you become a mental wellness coach, a lot of your clients already know the things, right? They know they're supposed to eat a certain diet. They know they're supposed to eat fewer processed foods and more whole foods. They know they're supposed to eat more fruits and vegetables. They know that piece of it. They know they're supposed to be physically active and move their bodies on most days of the week. They know they're supposed to get 7, 8 hours of sleep every night. They know they're supposed to have a positive mindset. They know all this kind of stuff. But being a coach isn't just telling them stuff. It's helping them navigate which of those modalities is going to be the right one for them at the right time. How can you bring one in for a little while and get them to move a little bit, and then bring in another one? And what does that regimen look like? It's a lot of hand holding. It's a lot of listening. So that's the practical aspect of coaching. In our course, we talk a lot about science, we talk a lot about the microbiome, we talk a lot about the gut-brain axis, we talk a lot about biochemistry. So there's a very heavy science component to it. But coaching, the practice of coaching, a lot of times is just sort of being there and helping your client navigate all the different options that are out there and helping them, basically choose, from this buffet what they're going to put on their plate at a particular time. What mental wellness coaching is not, and this is really important, this is what we call scope of practice. It's not being a licensed counselor. It's not treating a disease like major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety disorder or ADHD or autism or something like that. We are very careful about not prescribing, not treating, not any of that kind of stuff, because we don't want to get ourselves or our clients or anybody else in trouble with the regulatory agencies that are out there. That said, there are plenty of things that we can do from a natural perspective to not cure depression, but help somebody improve their mood. Not cure generalized anxiety disorder, but help somebody feel more calm in a stressful situation. Not treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, but help somebody lift their brain fog and focus better with a lot sharper mental acuity, right? You get the idea. And that is something that we come back to again and again and again. Even when, every week I might share a research article and say, look, these subjects in this research article were people with ADHD, and this is what happened. We gave them theanine or pine bark or saffron or whatever the intervention was, and they showed this sort of a benefit. Now, here's how we use that information. Here's how we apply that science as mental wellness coaches to help our clients focus better, feel better, perform better, all those sorts of things. So it's using the science in a way that we can apply it in a way that is very, very appropriate in a coaching setting. So the format for the Certified Mental Wellness Coaching course is right here. It's fully online. We used to do a lot of in-person ones. I'll mention those very briefly in just a second. But what we found is that the online is, so if you have come to one of our in-person courses over the last bunch of years, you either came in to Plymouth, Massachusetts, just south of Boston, and you stayed with us at our mental wellness retreat, and we probably had a great time. But that's the expense of flying to Boston, the time of 3 days to come into a location. You certainly get a lot of good interaction and things like that when you're in person. But what we found was when we put up the online course, that was so much more A, affordable, B, convenient, C, doable for most people, that they didn't have to, either schedule me to come out to their city and, have a 3 day course, or 2.5 day course, or the expense and the time of coming to Boston. The online is fully self-paced. You can do it in 2 weeks if you want to. You can do it in 2 months. You can do it in 2 years. I literally had somebody about an hour before I started recording this text me and say, "Hey, I signed up for your course a long, long time ago, and now because life got crazy, I never went through the whole course. Am I still able to get through it?" And I said, "Sure. Email me. We'll make sure that you get the right logins and things like that. By all means, we want more mental wellness coaches out there helping more and more clients." So it's fully online. You get about 500 slides. So the slides are all in the little videos, in the video modules, but you also get the slides. You get the actual PowerPoint decks that you can download and use in your own personal library, use for your own education if you're out there in the community, educating people about mental health and wellness and feeling better and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good thing. It's 16 hours. It's across 11 modules. So some of the modules are an hour, some of the modules are 2 hours, but it's self-paced. You can do module one and sit there and run through it and take the quiz. Taking the quiz unlocks module two. And then you could just bear down and go through module. The fastest I think anybody has ever done it is that I had a gentleman who got really excited about the program, decided he was going to do it over like a long weekend. It was like Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend or 4th of July weekend or something like that. So it was a 3-day weekend and he blasted through the whole thing. I don't recommend that, right? That's a pretty heavy lift, but he was able to do that. But we have other people who take 2 weeks, 2 months, like I said, 2 years if you want to. But what you also get, this isn't like some of the certification programs that are out there where it's just a bunch of videos. It's videos and quizzes that you have to pass the quizzes. But it's also direct contact, right? It's Wellness Wednesdays, like what we're doing right now. It's our Tuesday coaching call. It's our Friday coaching call. There's an online discussion area where 24/7 you can post your questions, and I'll answer them sometimes by texting back or typing back, sometimes by sending a video back. But a lot of the other students will get in there and help. They'll say like, oh, I had a client that was like that and this is what I did, or somebody's looking for a resource and some student might answer the question before I get in there. So like that collective nature of all of us helping one another is a really, really cool thing. So um, I'll come back to that in a second because there's a lot of other cool things in that community. And the course is basically broken up in two sides, which I alluded to a little bit already. There's a science side where we're talking about this new paradigm of mental wellness, not just being a head thing, a brain thing, but being a gut brain thing and a heart brain thing and an immune system brain thing. So that whole new paradigm is fundamentally changing how we think about not just mental wellness, not just human performance, but things like longevity and what a healthy human even is to begin with, right? It's really, really fundamentally changing how we think about human health and performance. But then how do we do this? How do we take that science? What is the practice of taking that science and actually applying it to a client and helping that client move up the mental wellness continuum, which we'll get to in a second. Okay, so it looks like this. There's a lot of content in there, and there's science level. There's practice of what you do, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. We'll talk about the science. We'll talk about the category of mental wellness. We'll talk about trends in coaching. We talk about different kinds of products. It's really important for me to say this, that I talk about a lot of products, but this course is what I call product agnostic. It's not. It's not promoting one particular brand. It's not promoting one particular line. We talk about products from zillions of different suppliers on purpose. I will sometimes on our coaching calls, I'll sometimes pull up Fullscript or Amazon, or somebody will ask me a question about a particular product, and we'll pull up the website for that product, and we'll go through it, and we'll go, oh, well, this is what's good about it. This is what's not good about it. Oh, this is a red flag. This is, it seems like this product is trying to do X. There's a different product that does X even better. So that might be one you want to look at for your client. There's a different product that does X, but it does it at a lower cost, lower price point. So like we really have those kinds of conversations, and it doesn't matter if you're, somebody who wants to promote products or not. Certified Mental Wellness Coach program could be for you. It doesn't matter if you have a line of products or you have 10 lines of products that you advocate for, right? That doesn't matter at all. So that's I think a really important thing to say. And then it's not just a gut health kind of a course, right? We do talk a lot about the microbiome and the gut as your second brain. But we also talk about all this kind of stuff. We talk about functional nutrition, ingredient sourcing, the immune system, your mindset, Endotoxemia is sort of a leaky gut kind of a thing. We'll talk about metabolism with the whole peptide hype these days. We're talking a lot about GLP-1s and proteins and things like that. We talk about sleep. We talk about anti-aging medicine. We talk about getting the mental edge if your clients are athletes, et cetera, et cetera. So we talk about a lot of stuff in this course because, in my view, everything comes back to mental fitness, right? Mental fitness will drive your physical performance. Mental fitness will drive your stress resilience, how you show up in the world. Mental fitness will drive the interactions that you have with other people. So there's a lot that goes into this discussion of mental fitness or mental wellness. This is where I'm talking to you from. This is Three Waves Wellness. This is our bed and breakfast style mental wellness retreat in coastal Massachusetts. It's not very nice place to visit in the middle of the winter. It's kind of slushy and freezing rain out there right now. But we'll have retreats here. We have coaches sometimes who will bring their groups in and we'll do some like master classing, over a couple of days. So that's something that we do here. Here's a screenshot of our online community. What you get here is you get an online discussion area so that you can, like I said, you can post your questions of anything in any area 24/7. There's an archive area where we record everything and post it up. So if you can't join live, you can catch it later. There's a lot of special reports. So I'll tell you right now, this course costs $599. I have been told 1,000 times by people that that's too cheap for the level of education that we're offering. And now I realize that, right? I see other courses that are out there. I'm on some boards that are involved with granting CEUs, continuing education units, and things like that. And what we're offering is a lot for that particular price. But I don't want to change the price. I want to make the price as affordable as possible for people. The reason I said the price right now, $599, is that some of the special reports that you get access to that are in PDF fashion, you can download them, cost more than that. So there are several reports in there that cost over $1,000, and they're reports on the wellness economy, the mental wellness category, the coaching industry, those sorts of things. So right there, it's a pretty good value. There are right now about 100 or so coaching calls that are all archived, all on various topics. We have a bunch of different mini courses, and that's what the screenshot is here. This is a screenshot of the archive area. So here you've got your mental wellness library, which has all the coaching calls that are recorded twice a week for dozens and dozens of weeks. You've got these mini courses about dopamine, about serotonin, et cetera, et cetera. These eventually will be mini CEU courses. So the big course, Certified Mental Wellness Coach course, is 16 continuing education units. A lot of people don't need that many CEUs. A lot of people need 3 or 2 or 7 or whatever it is for your chiropractic license or your nursing license, or like me, my nutritionist license. I have to get CEUs every single year and submit them to the organizations that license me. So lots of people need those kinds of things. We're going to be applying CEUs to these kinds of things. We have twice weekly calls, like I said before, and we have an affiliate program. So I have just recently launched some of my own nutrition products. I've formulated products for dozens of different companies across the nutrition industry, but I decided that the time was right to launch a couple of my own products. So we've got a really nice energy kombucha. We've got a really nice what we call stress chocolate, which is a mood chocolate if you took it during the day, or a sleep chocolate if you took it during the night. And then we just a couple of months ago now, launched this product, which is called Zenith, which is a stress resilience product that works across the entire gut-brain axis. I'm not going to talk about that specifically tonight. I'm just really going to talk about the coaching course. But with the coaching course, it's really important that you can make a business, you can make a new career around becoming a mental wellness coach, and you can charge your clients. That's one revenue stream. You can represent products to them. That's another revenue revenue stream, and you can get a commission from anything that they buy. You can do that through several streams. We're gonna cover that as we go through here. So there, that's one of the important things that we want to give education, we want to give, support, but we also want to give the right kinds of products so that our clients get the right kinds of benefits. We don't want to send them to Amazon and say, you know what, go buy a probiotic product. That's probably going to help your gut. And by helping your gut, it's going to help your brain. That's like crossing your fingers and a wing and a prayer, because as soon as they get into Amazon, or as soon as they go down to the grocery store and get in front of all those generic probiotic strains, they might they're likely to pick the wrong one. So this way we're able to guide them to take the right products. And it doesn't have to be my products, right? It could be the products on FullScript, which are thousands of different health practitioner products. I'll talk about FullScript in just a minute. It could be some other company that you're aligned with, right? Again, product agnostic, but we want our clients to be taking good, high quality, high potency, efficacious products. Okay. So there's that. I will say this, though. Our company just a couple of weeks ago was named, for coming into this 2026 year, we were named a startup star by an organization called Nutri-Ingredients. So if you know the nutrition industry, Nutri-Ingredients is sort of like the Wall Street Journal of the nutrition industry, right? They post articles every day about, the industry, about new ingredients that are coming, about new trends that are happening, about, acquisitions and all that kind of stuff. So we were named a startup star because what we're really trying to do is bring two sides together: the education and coaching side and the research-based product side, right? Nobody's doing both of those. We're the first company to really bring those together, and that's the reason we won this really nice award. So that's cool. But let's move on. Our course now, this Certified Mental Wellness Coach course, or CMWC, is approved and endorsed by all of these different third-party organizations. So just so you don't think it's just me spouting off. Like I have great experience, right? I've been in the industry for 30 years. PhD in nutritional biochemistry. I've written 15 books on stress or microbiome or gut-brain axis or mental wellness, in that sort of category. I just submitted my 15th book called Wild Medicine just a couple of days ago. It's not going to come out for another year, but it's all around natural therapies that are from all around the world. So like I've got a good background in this, right? But it's always good to have the endorsement, right? To have the seal of approval from American College of Sports Medicine and National Association for Nutrition Professionals and American Nutrition Association, and et cetera, so that that they have all reviewed the content of the course and they know that it's legit, that it's based on science, that there's some real value here. Okay. So when somebody finishes the course, you get a certification like this, right? You get a little badge. That badge can go in your email signature. It can go on your LinkedIn profile. It can go on your website. When you click on it, it goes to an organization called Credly, which is a big health organization that sort of manages different certifications. So Microsoft uses them, Google uses them, like big companies use them to manage their certification programs. And then people will see exactly what you went through, right? So there's another level of legitimacy, if you will, that this isn't just like some random program that you found on the internet. Okay. We are in a really unique time right now. And there's a problem in the world. Before I go in and describe that problem to you a little bit, I'm going to look up into the chat and just see if there's anything in here that I should answer now before I go into this next section. And there's some people who are saying where they're from. Some people who are saying that they took the course, a certain time ago, best decision they ever made. Thank you very much for saying that. And some nice comments about Zenith and things like that. So that's great. So I think a lot of people who have probably joined into this call tonight or who are going to watch it on replay, it's no secret that stress is a big problem in the world, and mental wellness is not very good in the world right now, right? That this is a big, big problem. Whether you put the label of depression on it, or anxiety, or PTSD, or burnout, or like however you want to describe it, it's most people are in that category. Not some people, not a subset of people, most people. More people are in this category of not feeling good than are feeling good. So, right there, it's a big category to address. And the thing about it is that it's getting worse. It's not getting better, unfortunately. I can pull all kinds of statistics. I just pulled a couple just to highlight the point a little bit. So, state of the workplace burnout in 2025, 66% of employees report feeling burned out. 85% have experienced symptoms of burnout and exhaustion due to work-related stress. 91% of our young people, 18 to 24-year-olds, report symptoms like fatigue, right? That's, a lot of you are probably watching this going, well, no, duh, right? This is the life that I live. This is my everyday experience. But what I want people to understand is that that isn't how it's supposed to be. That's not a normal situation. That's a typical situation, but it's not a normal situation. A normal situation would be, my specialty area of research is something called psychological vigor. Vigor should be our normal state of being, which is physical energy, mental acuity, and emotional well-being, right? Also called flourishing, also called resilience, right? We should be able to function at a very high level every single day. And like I said, most people are not in that category. And the things that are most sapping our resilience are things like this: job pressure, sleep problems, financial problems, nutrition problems. And you notice here that finance are two of the things, right? Your finances and your work, or the economy and your job, or like that shows up in all of these national surveys every single year. Here's another little piece of data, and then we're going to move on to something else. In the past 7 days, this is 2025 data. In the past 7 days, which of the following have you done, if at all, to cope with stress? So we've got a lot of stress. We have a lot of sources of stress. What are we doing to alleviate that stress or help ourselves feel better? Well, we're watching TV. We're sleeping more, which could be a good thing if it's done the right way. We're eating more junk food. We're doom scrolling social media. We increased exercise. That would be a good thing. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we cover in the modules, in the content of this course. We splurged on non-essential items, or we went to retail therapy, et cetera, right? You can, cannabis, alcohol, gambling, all the things. So we're not making very good choices to deal with our stress. And I say we sort of collectively as a population. What a lot of other people do is they do this. They don't feel good. They go to their doctor and they say, "Hey doc, I feel awful." And the doctor, prescribes one of these things. It might be an antidepressant. It might be an anti-anxiety. It might be an ADHD drug. It might be something that is going to not make them feel better, but help them feel less worse, right? Even if we're not prescribed things, we might self-prescribe. We might self-prescribe energy drinks or extra cups of coffee to alleviate our daytime fatigue, which is going to interfere with our sleep quality and, keep that vicious cycle going. That is about $100 billion that gets spent every single year in the United States alone. And the problem with it is just what I stated. None of these help you feel good. Some of them might help you feel less bad, and that's not a great trade-off, right? It's not getting you to where you ultimately want to be, which is to feel better. And that's the opportunity, right? So, every time there's a problem, there's an opportunity to solve the problem, and we have the opportunity to solve this absolutely massive problem that is affecting most people. So you go out there in the world, 2 out of 3 people that you encounter tomorrow are in this category. They need you. They need a certified mental wellness coach to help them navigate this situation. And that navigation could be, Help me figure out how to move my body. Help me figure out how to get more fiber or fermented foods or polyphenols or something like that into my diet. Help me with my sleep quality. Help me figure out what my supplement regimen should look like. Help me with any combination of that, right? That's what the opportunity is. And it is a massive opportunity. This is a slide from an organization called the Global Wellness Institute, and they look at the whole wellness industry, right? Personal care, physical activity. So this would be gyms, healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, traditional and complementary medicine. That would be like a Chinese medicine practitioner, an Ayurvedic practitioner. Here's mental wellness. Mental wellness is one of the smaller ones because it's one of the newer ones. It doesn't have the history of being around a long time, like the weight loss industry, for example. But it's one of the so I mean, it's one of the smallest ones, but still, it's $233 billion in 2023 number. But it's the fastest growing of all of these bubbles. Mental wellness is growing faster than any of the others. And that's illustrated here. So if you see where it is now, $200 billion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of expenditure where people are actively going out and looking for solutions to help them feel better. And some of the different ways that I just described. This has been growing double digits over the last few years. It's predicted to continue growing double digits at least out to about 2030. So there's a long trajectory here. I like to say to people sometimes that mental wellness is a trendy thing right now, but I also don't want people to think that it's a trend in the sense that it's like it's a flash in the pan. It's gonna be hot today and gone tomorrow. The statistics don't show that. It shows that people are waking up to the idea that mental wellness is just as important, or maybe more important in some cases, as physical health is. So that is a great place to be. That is a great place if you're looking for a career change, or you're looking for a side gig or a side hustle, however you want to describe it. This is a great place to focus your efforts because there's a lot of people that need help. There's a lot of people that are actively looking for solutions in this area. And what the Certified Mental Wellness Coach course does it in a very, very different way than what anybody else is doing. Okay. And we're going to get into some of that. So I want to share this with you too. This is also from the Global Wellness Institute. This is a report they put out just a couple of years ago where they identified some of the big trends. And they identified 10 big trends in this report. I'm going to pull out just three of them. One of them is the future of immune system health. So you notice this is a 2021 report, came out right after COVID pandemic. So immune system was on top of mind, right? Keeping your immune system strong. We talk a lot about the immune system in this course because the immune system is one of the key ways that your gut and brain talk to each other. When we say gut-brain axis, a big part of the axis is the communication network whereby your brains talk to each other, and your immune system is a huge channel of information. We think of your immune system now not just as a shield that protects you from, the flu, but it's also a communication organ that helps your brain and your gut and the rest of your body communicate. You communicate health, communicate ill health, communicate happiness, communicate sadness, communicate vigor. So the immune system is a big trend, and it's a core part of what this course has always been about. Money out loud. People are getting more comfortable talking about finances, right? And why is that important? Well, finances are 50% of the reason why people are not feeling the way they want to feel. It's a big source of stress. It's a big source of depression. It's a big source of anxiety. It's a big source of sleep deprivation. And so if we can talk to people about financial wellness in a very authentic way, and as coaches, we can have a revenue stream of people paying us for our services, our education, and our hand holding, for example. And they can also pay us through the products that we're recommending. That's going to be a good financial thing for us, and that's like we have to take care of our mental wellness as well. So this is an important trend. And then the last one is coaching is a trend in and of itself. That this is something that a lot of people are interested in, and a lot of people are looking for coaches. And we have a very unique niche as certified mental wellness coaches. We're not a like glorified life coach. We're not a nutrition coach. We're not a personal trainer. We're kind of an amalgam of all of those in a really unique way. And what you'll find if you decide to join the course, you'll find that there are people in the course who are they're chiropractors that want this mental wellness training bolted on to their training, or they're already trained in physical fitness and they want to get the mental wellness. They're already trained in nutrition and they want to get the mental wellness. So, it really is that sort of sweet spot, if you will, of education where you can help people in a myriad of different ways. That said, you don't have to have a scientific or a medical or a health professional background in order to make use of the program. We have plenty of people who have just come in as, enthusiasts, right? They want to be healthier themselves, and they've come in and taken the course personally just to learn about how they can help themselves, and they've learned enough to go, you know what? I know enough now where I can go help other people. So you don't have to have this big science background in order to benefit from the course. You can if you want to, but it's not a prerequisite necessarily. Okay. Another thing, real quick about mental wellness in general, is that it's not just one thing. I'll just read this to you. It's an active process. It's integrated and holistic in nature, and it's non-clinical strategy. This is what people are looking for, right? So many people, millions and millions of people out there have tried to sort of treat their sadness with Prozac. And I'm just going to pick on Prozac because that's the one that everybody knows. And it hasn't worked for most people, right? It's maybe worked in some way for about 20% of people who have tried it. But that class of medication isn't like that clinical approach isn't the problem for most people. This solving it in a multifactorial way. Let me describe it to you this way. If somebody that we're working with, our client, feels kind of blah, they're not necessarily depressed. They don't necessarily have anxiety disorders or something like that. They just feel kind of blah. It might be their neurotransmitters in their brain, but it also might not. Their neurotransmitters might be perfectly fine. So we could do an intervention that helps them with their neurotransmitters, a natural intervention, but it could be that something is blocking their neurotransmitters. So they could have perfect levels of serotonin, but their serotonin can't get to where it needs to get because they have too much cortisol, for example, stress hormone. So a stress controlling regimen might help them be happier. It could be that they're overinflamed. Inflammatory cytokines can interfere with serotonin signaling. So if we could get their inflammation down, we could help them feel better. It could maybe it's not really their serotonin or their neurotransmitter. Maybe it's their inflammation. Well, where's the inflammation coming from? The inflammation could be coming from the fact that their immune system, the key source of inflammation in our bodies, is over agitated. So maybe they need to prime their immune system. They need to calm their immune system activity. So it's not really a neurotransmitter problem. It's not really an inflammatory problem. It's an immune system problem. Well, wait a minute. What set their immune system off? It could be that they have leaky gut. If their gut integrity is poor, they have poor barrier function, or they have a very leaky gut, that could be agitating their immune system. So maybe it's not an immune system problem. It's a gut integrity problem. We can solve that. Well, wait a minute. What caused their leaky gut in the first place? It could be their microbiome. It could be the environment inside their gut. You get the idea, right? The whole idea of what we're trying to do with this Certified Mental Wellness Coach course is educate you across all those modules so you can go, I wonder what is the root cause of these problems that we're seeing. My client is complaining about XYZ, and the more I listen to them, the more that I'm seeing that it might not be X or Y or Z. It might be this thing that's underlying all of that. So let's address that with this collection of interventions. Okay. So like that is the holistic nature of what we do and what people are actually looking for. Okay. I'm just gonna zip through this because this is an important piece. We talk about this in one of the modules in some detail, but it's this idea of what we're not doing as mental wellness coaches is treating illness, right? On this x-axis, this left-right axis, Mental illness exists on its own continuum that is different from mental wellness, which is this y-axis, this up and down axis. Where we focus our efforts is the difference between languishing, which is that feeling of blah, and flourishing, which is that feeling of energy and well-being and vitality, what I call vigor in positive psychology research. So this is what we focus on: languishing and flourishing. Languishing, you feel blah; flourishing, you feel amazing. And there was an article in the New York Times a few years ago where an organizational psychologist named Adam Grant at University of Pennsylvania wrote this article. He studies it, I study it, a bunch of people study it, but he wrote a really nice article in the New York Times in 2021, right after the pandemic. And he said, there's a name for the blah you're feeling. It's called languishing. And he explained to people what this term from positive psychology is all about, that, lots of us have been studying for years. And it became the number one read and number one shared article of the entire year from the New York Times, right? So that tells you that, like, that hits a nerve, that like a lot of people were like, that's exactly what I have. It's not depression, it's not anxiety, it's not any of the things that I said before. It's languishing, and now there's a word for it. And yet people aren't going to use that language, right? People aren't going to say like, oh, I really feel like I'm languishing today, right? We just don't talk that way. That's not how our vocabulary is. You're going to say that you're blah. And it's our job as mental wellness coaches to say, okay, client who feels blah, tell me more about that. Explain more. Let's get granular. Let's figure out exactly what's going on here. And the more we can help pull that out of them and listen to what they're saying and ask questions in different ways, then we can figure out, aha, this is what I think you're experiencing. Let's try this. And we get into that active process of helping them move along. Okay. I really think about mental wellness as performance, right? That's where I started my career as a sport nutritionist, working with Olympic training centers and US track and field and US skiing team and all that kind of stuff. It's Simone Biles did a great job of letting people know that it's okay to not be okay. But what I want people to realize is that it's okay to not be okay, but it's also okay to talk about that so that we can help you feel okay, get you to the middle of the mental wellness continuum. But then it's also okay to keep going and get up to be in that thriving category, what I refer to as mental fitness. Okay, everybody has the opportunity to do that, and that's what the new paradigm is. That it's not just a brain thing; it's a gut brain thing, it's a heart brain thing, it's an immune system brain thing, and it's an inflammatory brain thing, et cetera, et cetera. So that gives us a lot of touch points, if you will, to do this, to meet our clients wherever they are in this mental wellness continuum, struggling, typical, right? This is where the blah people are. It's not normal, but it's a pretty typical situation these days in the modern world that we live in. Meet them wherever they are and move them up the continuum so we can get them up to this thriving where they have good resilience and they're able to handle stress and they have sharp mental focus and they have good energy levels. But they have good energy levels during the day, but then they can shut it off and they can get good quality sleep at night. Moving up this mental wellness continuum is the whole like guiding principle of what we're doing as mental wellness coaches. There's a really nice article that came out in the Wall Street Journal, again, right after the pandemic, when stress levels were the highest that they've ever been globally, that really put a point on what we study here in the course. Feeling depressed, bacteria in your gut may be to blame. New studies point to the trillions of organisms in the human microbiome as playing an unexpectedly huge role in our well-being, right? So that, like, for me, I like to share this because Wall Street Journal obviously isn't a scientific journal. It's a financial newspaper. But the fact that they're writing about it tells us a lot of things. It tells us that the science is solid, that the science is maybe not mainstream yet, but at least it's fully baked enough for us to use it and apply it to what we're doing with our clients. But it also tells us that businesses are sounding an alarm bell, right? Employees are being burned out and productivity is going down. Employees are feeling the heat on all this kind of stuff and they're suffering with it. So the fact that, some of these bullet points that you see here that I've highlighted in red, these are just pulled right from the article. mental health, stress, anxiety, depression, antibiotics. The microbes in the gut are adaptable to changes in our environment and our diet and our physical activity programs. And by targeting the microbes in the gut, we can have behavioral effects that are going to have an impact on overall well-being. So, this is becoming uh, prime time, right? It's becoming mainstream stuff. But we joke about this in our coaching calls. Like we are still very much on the cutting edge. You'll get a lot of people, and just some of your clients, right, will have to be educated who will say like, really? The microbes, the bacteria in my gut are determining how I feel in my head. And by changing what's happening in my bacteria, I can change how I feel. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And then we share share the research with them, share the results with them, hold their hands, bring them along, the whatever regimen we're going to put them on, and show them that this is a real thing. It's still early days in what we're understanding about the microbiome and the gut-brain axis, but we know enough in order to apply it. So here's some of the things that you'll learn in the course, things that can really kill that flourishing and push you towards languishing, or take you from vigor and push you towards burnout, or take you from wherever you are and push you towards blah. We're going to talk about chronic psychological load, physical inactivity, ultra processed foods, sleep disruptions, different types of mindset. This is something I've been talking about for a long time called the SENSE program. Each one of those letters stands for a different part of the interventions that we'll put together for our clients. And it has to do with stress management, has to do with exercise, with nutrition, with sleep quality, with evaluation is the last E, helping them like on a periodic basis, touching base and finding like, how's it going? What do we need to change? What's working? What's not working? What has changed in your life? That kind of stuff. But underlying all of it is the microbiome and gut integrity and immune system vigilance and signaling molecules like cytokines and neurotransmitters and peptides and all that kind of stuff. So, we will talk about a lot of stuff, and it's science. And, if we can understand the science, I will say this to my coaches all the time. If we can understand the biochemistry of the leaky gut and the neurotransmitters and the cytokines and whatever, all those signaling molecules, if we can understand what's going on at that level, then it gives us a really precise view into what sort of an intervention we need to bring in to, for example, lower inflammatory cytokine, or improve gut integrity, or improve the mucus lining, or improve blood flow, or whatever the case may be. If we can understand the biochemistry, we can understand how it's driving the behaviors, and we can apply an intervention that is gonna really really help that. So like I think the science is sexy. Right. I think like when we're talking about the science and sharing a new research article that just come out, this is what we all feel like, right? It's sexy, it's good information, it's fun to talk about, it's going to help a lot of people. But I think a lot of people feel like this when they're talking about science. And what we want to try to do in the course is make the science very approachable, make it applicable. Right. So there's an aspect of like, oh, the science is cool and interesting, but if we can't apply it to our clients and apply it to a situation to help them feel better, then who cares about it? Right. It's the application of the science that really makes it cool and really makes it helpful and useful for people. So, the microbiome is completely changing everything that we understand about human health. It literally affects every single aspect of not just our gut health, not just our brain health, but our metabolism, our longevity, our predisposition to neurodegenerative problems like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and things like that. And I'm just going to share with you a quick little, let me just check how many slides I've got left. Yeah, I still have time to do this. So how do we know this? How do we know that the microbiome, these trillions of bacteria in our gut, are involved in behavior and metabolism and human performance? How do we know that? Well, we know it from lots of studies now, but it all started with some mice. And with these mice, you can do something on the mice called a microbiome transplant, a fecal microbiome transplant, FMT. And what you do there is you can take the microbiome from one mouse and swap it into another mouse. And it's sort of like swapping the software between two computers, right? If you did that, the one computer that you took the software from and the other computer that you put the new software in, the new computer would function completely differently because you did a software reset. The same thing happens in full-on organisms. So you can take, here's an example. You can take the microbiome from an obese mouse, put it into a lean mouse, and the lean mouse becomes obese. Its metabolism changes, its appetite changes, its physical activity changes. It takes on all the attributes of an obese mouse. And people always ask me, can it go back the other way? Could you take the microbiome from a lean mouse, put it into an obese mouse, and would that obese mouse become lean? And the answer is yes, temporarily. If you can, so that mouse would lose weight and they would become more physically active and they would choose a better diet. Honestly, they would have less of a drive to eat the fast food version of a mouse diet and eat more of the Mediterranean version of a mouse diet. Like you can see that happening, but it doesn't last unless you keep the microbiome where it needs to be, right? I'm not going to get into all those details, but this shows us that the microbiome isn't just involved, it is causative in that change that we're looking at. So that's metabolism. How about behavior? Well, you can take the microbiome from an introverted mouse, and that would be a mouse that doesn't like to explore the maze, that sort of hides in the corner, doesn't run on the wheel, doesn't play with its litter mates very much. You can take the introverted microbiome, put it into an extroverted mouse, and the extrovert becomes an introvert, and vice versa. You can change that behavior by switching the microbiomes between the mice. And people will hear me talk about this kind of stuff, and they'll go, "Well, great. We're not mice, and hardly any of my clients are mice. So how does this apply to me?" Well, it applies because the same thing happens with humans. We can grade humans based on what their microbiome looks like. And here you can see, without getting too much into the details of this very busy slide, there are differences in the microbiome structure between somebody with major depressive disorder and somebody who is a control, somebody who doesn't have depression. So you can see the differences here. You can see the differences here. You can take the microbiome from a depressed human, put it into a mouse, and the non-depressed mouse, and the mouse exhibits depressive-like behaviors. So it doesn't want to run on the wheel. It doesn't want to play with its litter mates. It loses its appetite. It just sort of sits in the corner. It looks like it has depression, and that's why we say depressive-like behaviors. We can't ask a mouse if it's happy or not. We just have to observe how it's behaving. So we know that the same thing is happening in humans. And now there are a range of studies that show that depressed humans have a different microbiome than non-depressed humans, that we can change that microbiome in a depressed human to make it more like a non-depressed human. And as a result of that, the person is no longer depressed. They lose their depression diagnosis. There's so many studies like that, and we talk about all these in the course. We talk about them in the modules. We talk about them on the weekly calls. We talk about new research that comes out with, hey, this diet had an antidepressive effect, or this diet had a cognition effect, improved mental focus, or this, all those different interventions. We talk about them all the time. And it's all because of this. It's all because of the signals that go across the gut-brain axis. If we have a good microbiome, good, resilient, diverse microbiome, and we have good gut integrity, we're very likely to have good signals going across our gut-brain axis. And that's going to result in good mood, good motivation, good metabolism, good mental focus, good resilience, good sleep quality, all the things that we want. But if any of that signaling across gut-brain axis is interrupted, if you have leaky gut, if you have a dysbiotic microbiome, too many bad guys, not enough good guys, if you have immune system dysfunction, if you have too much inflammation, if you have et cetera, all across that chain, then you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel more depressed, more brain fog, less motivation, more fatigue, more sleep problems. So we can, just looking at that, we can go, okay, Where should we intervene? Is this going to be a leaky gut thing? Is this going to be a microbiome thing? Is this going to be a neurotransmitter thing? Is it going to be a blood flow thing, immune system priming thing, blah, 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 right? It gives us all these different interventions that we can use. Let me give you an example. There's dozens of studies in mice now, showing that we can treat autism with probiotics and or prebiotic fibers. And it's been done so many times now that and reproduced in laboratories all around the world. It's basically like connecting the dots. We can give a probiotic or a prebiotic. It alters the microbiome. It improves gut integrity, so it reduces leaky gut. It changes the signals that are going across the axis, whether those are hormones or peptides or neurotransmitters or cytokines or whatever. And as a result of that, you see a change in behavior. These autistic mice become less autistic. They behave better. They have, better sociability, better appetite, all that kind of stuff. And I'm using this example of autism as an extreme example of signaling across the gut-brain axis. I'm not doing it to say like, hey, let's go out there and start treating autism. It's not for that. It's an example of this gut-brain axis idea. In autism, there are things that need to be fixed in the brain. There are things that need to be fixed in the gut in order to make that signaling as efficient as possible. Okay, so that's why I'm using this example. But just like my fecal microbiome transplant example a few minutes ago, people will look at that and go, well, mice, who cares? Autistic mice, that doesn't, how does that apply to my clients? Well, there are also studies in humans showing that if we do something as little as a fiber intervention, we can help to change autistic behaviors. And so this is in kids, prebiotic fiber intervention in children with autism spectrum disorder. And this is another one, looking at a different kind of fiber called hydrolyzed guar gum. So this one was done in the UK with a particular kind of prebiotic called a GOS, GOS, galacto-oligosaccharide. This guar gum is sometimes called a galactomannan. This one was done in Japan. And both of the studies basically showed the same thing. Different fiber interventions, but change the microbiome, change the gut integrity, change the metabolite signals, and improve behavior. Right? So now these kids, they were focusing better, they were behaving better, they were having fewer, episodes of irritability. They had better gastrointestinal function. So like you're improving the quality of life of those kids, of those individuals, but also of the family dynamic. So like that's an example of the kind of things that are possible with these natural interventions, whether it's a probiotic strain or a prebiotic fiber or a change in diet, or maybe you're adding something to the diet, maybe you're taking something away from the diet, maybe you're helping the person sleep better. There's all these potential avenues where we can help people in all these really, really meaningful ways. We can also go the next level and we can look at specific bacteria who are bacteria that are GABA producers. GABA is the body's primary relaxing neurotransmitter. And if we can get more of that produced, you can help people with their stress, with their metabolism, with their mood, with their sleep, with their irritable bowel syndrome. If we can change the bacteria to make more short chain fatty acids by giving different kinds of fiber, we can have effects on not just stress, but on the aging process itself. We can probably change the aging process itself by changing what's happening at the level of the gut. So here's some studies. This is another fecal microbiome transplant study where now you're transferring the microbiome from a young mouse into an old mouse, and the old mouse literally becomes younger on every measurement you can look at. Their immune system becomes younger, their brain cells become younger, their neurons actually become younger in their brain. All the metabolism becomes younger, different changes in GABA, different changes in different metabolic signals. Their behavior becomes better, their cognition is better, their physical activity is better, they're solving problems more efficiently. It's like this should just be making your minds go kapow, right? It's mind blowing what is possible. And the last thing I'll say before I wrap it up is, where do supplements fit in? Right? Supplements can be a really, really important part of this. And I'm just going to reemphasize this course is very product agnostic. We will talk about dozens of different kinds of products from different kinds of companies. But one of the things that's really cool when you become a certified mental wellness coach is that you're able to open your own dispensary on a platform called FullScript. FullScript is only open to healthcare practitioners. So in there, you're going to see a collection of thousands of different products that are all practitioner level quality products. They've all been vetted, they've all been reviewed to get onto the platform. You know that they're going to be all good quality, they're going to be all third party tested, they're going to be all the right potency. You have it has a very good search function. You can put your clients in there, you can put regimens together for them. And that said, some of the products you might want to recommend won't be in full script, and so then you can recommend those other products to your clients as well. But this gives you a very good platform to start on. And the like where I think these fit is that if you can get a good supplement regimen for somebody that improves their motivation and energy, maybe it's going to make it easier for them to exercise, and you can recommend a physical activity regimen for them. If you can get a supplement regimen that helps them with appetite and craving modulation, that can maybe help them choose to steer away from processed foods and steer towards more of a Mediterranean diet or a mental fitness diet where they're eating more fresh fruits and vegetables and more fibers and more lean proteins and things like that. You can get a supplement regimen that helps them with relaxation and recovery. You can help them wind down and move themselves out of sympathetic activation, fight or flight, into parasympathetic activation where they can relax and digest and recover and recuperate and get a good quality sleep. Supplements have their place. They're not the program, but they're an important part of the overall program. And here are some of the pathways that we talk about. We talk about all these kinds of things: internal pathways, external pathways, supplements, nutrition, sleep quality, mind body exercises. We talk about it all. So it's a really robust course. It follows a sense program, so you can use lifestyle interventions. You can combine those with supplement interventions. You can help your clients with all these different aspects of mental wellness: focus and motivation and energy and mood and stress resilience. And I'm gonna end on this, which is this book, The Good Life. I highly recommend it. It's written by it's for a non-scientific audience, right? For an educated, curious, health-oriented audience. The Good Life is a description of the longest lifestyle intervention study that has ever been conducted. Sometimes it's called the Harvard Longevity Study. They're looking at answering a very important question over this study, which is over 80 years now. It's probably at this point 85 years, 86 years it's been running. The question that they're trying to answer is not just about happiness, but what makes a good life. And so these two gentlemen, Robert Waldinger and Mark Schultz, are the principal investigators of the study. They are the third set of principal investigators because the study's been running so long. They've been trying to answer this question: what makes a good life? What's the secret to a good life? And what they've found is, and there's a really good TED talk by Bob Waldinger, where he talks for 17 minutes about answering this question. And at the very beginning of the talk, he says, I can answer it in one sentence. It's having good relationships. It's feeling like you earned your success across your life and that you were serving others. That's it right there. The secret to a good life, 80-year-long study, says if you feel at the end of your life that you have earned your own success and you have served others, you feel like you've lived a good life. I feel like the mental wellness coach course is a piece of that, and part of it is that we're in the right place at the right time. If you look at what we're doing here, right, we're solving a big problem in the world. I shared with you some of the statistics. It's being inadequately addressed, and the way to address that problem is in a more holistic, active, comprehensive, non-clinical way. And good research tells us that is the approach. We're using new science to solve this problem. That it's not just a brain problem, that is a brain, gut, heart, immune system problem. This microbiome gut-brain axis, like I said, is fundamentally changing how we think about this area. And then the last piece of this is that it allows you to help yourself while you're helping others. I honestly can't think of anything that I would rather be doing than helping people to help other people, right? And build a business around that. So you're earning your own success as a coach, as somebody who's recommending good products, as somebody who is helping their clients put together these regimens, and you're serving others. That is a good life. I honestly can't think of anything that is funner than that. So here, some of you might have gotten this email already. It went out a little bit earlier. It was supposed to go out right now, just as I'm wrapping up this call, but it went out about an hour ago. So some of you have seen this already. We're running a really cool promotion for the next week. So it'll start tomorrow morning. It'll run for 1 week. And we're offering people some really cool incentives to sign up to be a mental wellness coach and get into this course until January 15th. If you sign up during this 1 week period, you're going to get 3 free extra ebooks than what you already get in the course. You're going to get a free bottle of Zenith, which is a $99 value in and of itself. And this product is, I don't want to talk about this too much on this call, but this is the most comprehensive gut-brain axis mental wellness product that has ever been developed. I'm really, really proud of this. This is one of the reasons that we got named as a startup star, because this has 8 of the most well-researched nutraceuticals for increasing different aspects of mental wellness across the gut-brain axis. So this is and you can become an affiliate, and you can promote this product to your clients, and they can get those benefits. And then if you sign up, during this week, you also get a happy is the new sexy t-shirt, which is just fun to wear around. It's a good conversation starter. I wear it to a lot of conferences that I go to and speak at, and it just it definitely generates a lot of discussion. So you can find out more about all that kind of stuff at doctalbot.com. You can see where you can sign up. You can see where you can find an affiliate link. One of the things that I will say about this to people who are watching now who are already a certified mental wellness coach, if you want to become an affiliate and be able to represent not just the products like Zenith, you want to be able to get other people to take the course, this certified mental wellness course. You can get a commission on that as well. And at $5.99, that ends up being almost $100 commission. So, you get a commission on the courses, you get a commission on the products, you can get a payment as for your services as a certified mental wellness coach. That is what I mean by, building a business that helps you by serving others. Okay. So with that, I know I went a couple minutes over tonight, but this is something that obviously gets me very excited. And I am going to go up and look one more time and see if there's any questions in here that I can answer. Yeah, so here's a good one that I'll answer. Somebody is saying, what are you noticing most about taking Zenith so far? That is a good question. It will differ for different people. The way I try to describe it is chains, like links in a chain. If you think about mental fitness as a chain, each one of those links is going to be a different aspect of mental fitness. So energy, mood, motivation, metabolism, resilience, sleep quality, et cetera, et cetera. Wherever your weakest link is, that's probably where you're going to notice it the most. So some people will take Zenith and they'll go, oh, my stress went down. I feel really less stressed now. I feel calmer. Somebody else might take it and go, really? Your stress went down? My stress didn't really go down, but I feel like I can handle stress better. That means their resilience went up, right? Same formula, same, generally people who were exposed to a lot of stress, but different experiences based on where their link was weakest, so to speak. Okay. What you'll also notice is something called phased benefits, where you'll feel really good right away in certain ways, like stress going down, relaxation improving, brain fog lifting, that kind of stuff. But then if you're trying to solve something like a depression index or an anxiety index or something like that, that might be a microbiome thing that takes 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to see a real change. So you'll feel somewhat better quickly, but then you'll feel more better over time and more better over time and more better over time. Not because it needs to build up, so to speak, but just because different aspects of mental well-being have different time courses, because some of them are related to brain waves, some of them are related to microbiome, some of them are related to gut integrity, some of them are related to inflammatory markers, and those just have different time courses just based on the nature of their biochemistry. Okay, so that's a good one. There's a lot of really positive comments in here about people have taken the course and the benefits that they've gotten. So I'm not going to read out all of those. People highly recommending the course, which is great. I really appreciate that, you guys. If you're affiliates, because of the Zenith promotion, is it the same price? Yeah, so here's the thing that our affiliate program really differentiates our affiliate program. If you're an affiliate, you can use your affiliate code to buy your own products. And I would recommend that you do that, right? If you're a certified mental wellness coach, and you are an affiliate, we want you to benefit from using our products by giving them to you at a even better price. So do that. So you'll get a better price on your own products, and then you'll use your affiliate links to send those out to your clients. Or if you don't even want to become a certified mental wellness coach and you just want to participate in the affiliate program, you can do that too. But I really, I love people to learn and understand why this ingredient and not that ingredient and how they work together and all that kind of stuff. And then yes, one of the other questions is, are there wholesale options for the three-way wellness products if one to want to have one in a retail section as a practitioner? Yes, we also have a wholesale where you can buy a six pack, and you can use that for your family, or you can use that in your offices. So we have a lot of people who have physical offices who will buy our six pack, and it's at a very, very steep discount. And then you can have those products on hand to sell to your clients, or your patients, or whatever kind of office that you have. Okay, so yeah, that's the questions right now. I think this is recorded, and we'll be posting this up to YouTube, and to the blog section of doctalbot.com as well, so you can share it out to people who weren't able to join live. So I appreciate you guys jumping on tonight. Promotion starts tomorrow, so go out there and take advantage of it and share it with others that you think might want to take advantage. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.